Hey everybody, what's up? This is Devin LaVore coming at you. I'm not going to get into all the sordid details, but man, today has been kind of a difficult day, particularly internally. I feel like the enemy has just been attacking me and my family, and I feel like it's either... You know how it says in the scripture that Jesus was baptized and then he was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. You see what I'm saying? And so I just feel like the enemy was attacking today, but I also feel like the Lord was there to see, okay, so how are you going to respond to this? What are you going to do? What are you going to say? What are you going to think about me? What are you going to feel about me? What are you going to say about me? What are you going to do? You know? And my daughter talked about it. Michelle talked about it. Just being... About what? About being really struck and hit on all these core weaknesses that you might say we have, or that we deal with. It's all the core stuff. Some stuff deals with us and bothers us and all that, and it's not stuff that really is. It finds a unfortunate root in our heart, but today was just one of those days, and I think I know why. But you know, we had a visitor. We've been having visitors recently, you know, we've talked about it, where we had a family visit us, and then we had two friends visit us, and it was this heaven and earth thing that we had. It was really cool. But then we just recently had another visitor this past weekend. And before she came, she felt led of the Lord to wear this particular shirt, and it was John 19:30, which says, "It is finished." It's where Jesus said, "It is finished." And it was like a prophetic declaration, a banner over our life saying, "It is finished. I'm done. Like, the struggle is over. We're done. We're through." And we were getting a lot of other prophetic things that were basically just kind of pointing to the same thing, saying the renovations are over. We're done. It's just like there's a completion. So many things. We're getting 777. It was talking about the manifestation of spiritual perfection and end and completion of things, and we were getting all that, right? And it was such a glorious weekend. It was a whirlwind of a glorious weekend, but it was such a glorious weekend. So awesome. My kids loved it. Me and Michelle loved it. It was just so amazing, right? But then a lot of times, here's the problem. A lot of times after you have this really high moment in the Lord, I think even your body goes through a natural kind of low. It's almost like a adrenaline dump can happen. It can happen. And then we have to, as believers, be good at managing excitement and coming down from that excitement and not plummeting and crashing to the ground, you know? Like as a pilot, you have to be good at getting the plane in the air, but you also have to be good at getting it back on the ground, you know? And I feel like after exciting, really high moments, I feel like that's where the enemy takes the opportunity to just attack and launch. And sometimes it's full-scale war, you know? But I felt like today it was just arrows. I was telling Michelle, I was like, Michelle, there's this thing happening to me right now where I just feel like the enemy is just off at a distance, but he's firing arrows. And it reminded me of Ephesians chapter 6, where it's like, hold up the shield of faith, where you can extinguish all the fiery arrows of the enemy. And I was doing that today, but I was feeling the heat of it. It was like there was so much of it coming at me, and I'm just like, wow, this is really intense. Because there were things that were going on today that were hitting my heart and triggering things, triggering fears, triggering questions and wonderings and doubtings in your heart. Jesus would say that. Why are you having these questions and wondering and doubting in your heart? Peter, come out and walk on the water. But then he had these fears and questions and wonderings and doubting in his heart, and he began to sink, right? It's the same idea. And so today I was doing a little bit of sinking, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, Lord, don't. But Peter cried out to the Lord, and the Lord was immediately there to pick him up, right? And I was doing a lot of crying out to the Lord today. because there was just so much stuff going through my head. It's all fear and terror and doubt, and it's like, this is not God. But even if you're walking by faith, I'm just going to trust God, you can still feel the intensity of the battle. And so while I'm in the intensity of the battle, the Lord is just sending me all kinds of prophetic communications. Because a lot of times when stuff like that happens for me personally, I cannot always trust what I'm hearing. I can be hearing two different things sometimes. And it's like, okay, well, both of those can't be the Lord. And I'm not saying like sometimes God can be saying two different things and he really is focusing on it and it's just the Lord. No, sometimes it's just yourself, and it's like, but when you're in a very difficult, pressured place, it can be difficult sometimes to discern the truth, but it doesn't keep you from crying out to God and saying, God, I just need you be the voice above all of it. Just lead me and guide me. And I'm going to, because we're always, I hate to talk about it, but it's like we're always facing financial issues, and I'm going, God, I want to believe your word. I want to believe everything you're saying. And if I'm wrong, I'm whatever. You know what? I just want to believe what you're saying. But it's like, man, like it sure seems like a lot of times God will say things, and then it's like I thought you said this, but then it's like the struggle is over. But it's like still seems like we're struggling. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what's going on? Like you said, I'm sure many of you know what I'm talking about. God will speak a thing and it just seems like the exact opposite will be happening. And I'm like, and I think that's something we have to get through. We have to work through. We have to climb over. We have to hurdle over by confessing and telling the truth and going through a process of building up our faith by saying, nope, God, this is what you said. Nope, the Lord, this is what you're saying. This is what you're speaking. And so I get hit. Some of my core issues are like financial and being a provider for the family, being a good husband, being a good father, all the things that you would just naturally be attacking a person in my position with. You're just going to do that. And so I take it all to the Lord, and I'm just feeling very not good at any of these core things. These weaknesses are becoming strong in me. You see what I'm saying? I'm feeling them very strongly. I'm just like, you know what? I'm still going to just go to the Lord. I'm like, okay, Lord, help me out here. And the Lord begins to do things in my life and share stuff, just little things. And it's like, I get this song, Set My Eyes on the Lord. And it's a familiar song that we do in worship. And then I get this song, Faithfulness or Faithful Then, Faithful Now or whatever by Elevation Worship, and God just begins to show me like, hey, I'm faithful. Remember when you first came to this room, I told you I am faithful and true and I will fulfill my word. And I just began to get strength from what God was saying. His word, his spirit, all of that coming to me was giving me strength. I was feeding on that, and it was giving me strength to overcome the thing that was trying to push me down, right? And then I had to go somewhere else, and I saw this big, huge sign on the top of someone's window of their windshield. It said, "Trust God," and the Lord was like, ta-da! You know what I'm saying? And I was like, whoa, yes. And then there was this person in the grocery store. I was just letting her go past. But then right on her hoodie, right on the bottom, it said, "Seek Jesus," And I was like, whoa. And I just, so many things like that happened today. And it just kept, every time I would see something like that, it would just lift me up and lift me up and lift me up. And it was like God saying, hey, it's like, listen, do you remember the prophetic shirt I had the visitor who visited us this past weekend? Remember what she wore? It is finished. It is finished. The Lord was speaking that this morning. He was saying, it's finished. We're done. We're moving. We're going to another place. And I'm just like, okay, cool. And so naturally we're expecting to see some things and see some things pop or something happen. Okay, what's taking place? What's going on? And right now we're not really seeing anything. We're seeing some things happen and move behind the scenes. But it's like, okay, we're just going to stay in faith and trust you and believe you and confess your word. But God was basically saying to me today, like, all of this stuff can overtake you. All the waters can just seem like they're overwhelming you from within, but in reality, they're not. But you can just be baptized in the trials and the temptations, which James chapter 1 says, find it wholly joyful when that happens, because it's testing your faith. And it's like, but ultimately what God is saying is like, I finish what I started. Don't let all this stuff bother you and bring you down. Take courage that I finish what I start. I never ever once start something and then don't finish it. And you might say, well, what about the nation of Israel? They never got in. They did. They just had to wait a generation. God's like, I'm going to get what I want. Do you want to go with me? And we said yes to the Lord. I said yes to the Lord 30 years ago. But as far as this journey that we're on, called as a family to go through this journey, God's like, I don't start this journey that you're on and then just not finish. You're not going to get to this point and then you're just going to fall off the map. See, because that's one of my core issues. I just keep thinking sometimes, we're just going to get to this place and God's going to say, okay, we're done. So, go back to doing what you were doing before. Like, okay, because that's a huge transition. You can't just decide to do that. That takes a lot of work to build and redo. And it's like, God, no, God, you have promised miraculous provision. God, you've promised miraculous increase. You've promised miraculous possession and ownership of homes and lands. You have promised things, and you are going to deliver. I don't care what the circumstances are. I don't care. You are exceedingly abundantly beyond all those circumstances, and you're going to prove it and you're going to show it. And the delivery of your people is going to be extravagant and glorious. And the Lord was just saying that to me. He's like, I'm going to finish what I started, and everything that I said was going to happen, that's going to happen. Don't be pulled away. So I just wanted to share that with you guys today and hope that you are encouraged by it, And also, if you would like to give, you can click one of those links below, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, because I forgot to say that at the beginning, and give to us. That would be super great, because we are always in the need for it. And so, huge thank you to those of you who do give to us, though. And so, we are looking forward. I am going across that finish line. Amen. Are you going to go? You going to finish? Because the Lord's like, we're going to finish this thing. We are crossing that tape. We're going. And so I hope that blessed you and encouraged you guys. And until next video, bye-bye.